What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Now, if you're one of the 50 people that viewed the short on my channel that we were going to be reviewing Slayer's albums, I decided to take a different direction. Guys, I'm not that big of a fan of Slayer as opposed to Metallica, and I thought that Metallica would be a nice way to relieve some stress because I'm in final studies right now for my senior year, and it's been a pain in the ass, so I've needed something to take the edge off, and I figured Metallica was just the thing, aside from a couple albums. I'm going to be ranking 11 albums here, and you might be thinking, also, yeah, actually, let me explain real quick. I won't be posting as much these next couple weeks, just because, like, studying for finals, getting all my assignments in, and actually doing finals, it's kicking my ass, guys. And I just had a concert tonight for choir, so needless to say, I'm a little bit sleep deprived and really fucking stressed out. So this is gonna be my best attempt to give you my honest ranking on Metallica's albums. And I know it's not a studio album, I know it's a collaboration album, but we need to address this. I know it's been talked to death, but I still don't feel like there's enough videos on YouTube explaining the sheer pain that is the hour and a half of Lulu. Guys, I have listened to this album all the way through 3 fucking times. I have wasted 4.5 hours of my life trying to understand this abomination of metal. I have tried so fucking hard to understand this album and understand what Metallica and Lou Reed wanted in this scenario, and I've watched the interviews as to why they created this and what they thought it was going to be. No one, 99.7% of Metallica fans hate this fucking album. I don't understand. I get that it's nice to do something different every once in a while, but when an entire album sounds like an old man lost at a shitty metal concert, it makes you want to claw your eyeballs out at that god-awful album art and impale your ears. I hate to shit on Metallica. They are one of my favorite bands of all time, but I do not understand this direction and why it was even considered. Especially with something, especially coming after a piece as great as Death Magnetic. I can't understand that. Yeah, guys, you're gonna hate some of my fucking opinions. I'm just gonna throw it out there now, but let me just give a little disclaimer for that reason. If you disagree with me on this list, shoot me your list down below. Don't be a dick about it. Don't be an asshole. Like, don't leave a comment. How could you think that way? Like, I don't understand why you think this way. No Metallica fan could ever put that album in front of that album. Every Metallica fan is different. Let it be that way. We can agree to disagree. We can talk about our differences, and we can view each other's opinions and think, damn, that's pretty cool. It's interesting to see somebody view it that way. But if you're going to be a dick in my comments section, get the fuck off my channel and don't come back. This is our channel, but if you're going to be an asshole, that's when it becomes my channel. I think we can all get along here. So that's my opinion on Lulu. I've really, really tried to enjoy the album. No matter how much shit people talked about it, I really try to give things a second and sometimes even third listen. And I cannot enjoy Lulu with any part of me other than humor factor. And even then, there's something that's just so undeniably gross about the album from front to back. When the first line of an album is, "I would cut my legs and tits off," and the album art is blood-smeared Lulu with that god-awful, horrific-looking, nightmare-infused mannequin with no arms. They say don't judge a book or album by its cover. This is one of those that you can definitely judge an album by its cover. You go into it not expecting much, and you get less than what you expected. You get a laugh or pure hatred. I fucking hate Lulu. I'm just gonna be honest about it. All right, let's talk about number 10. Let's talk about Saint Anger. This was released in, I want to say, either 02 or 03. This is probably the Metallica album I am least familiar with, as I have only listened to it once, trying to crank out this video. Now, if it shows you how much this album is disliked by a lot of Metallica fans, I didn't even hear about this album until last year, and I've been a Metallica fan since I was like 4 years old. So, Saint Anger, I think the album art's kick-ass, so I was like, going into it expecting a little bit, and I got a little bit. I didn't get exactly what I wanted, but I got something. For the first 2 songs, the snare drum is doable, but when it goes on for the rest of the album, it's horrible. And when you realize that there are no fucking solos, at least from what I remember, there are no fucking solos in this album. It's just not for me. I'd go back and re-listen to it. Like, if a friend said he loved Saint Anger, he or she loved fucking Saint Anger, sure, put it on. Let's fucking rock out to that shit. I don't care. But if someone said they liked Lulu, I would politely explain that I do not enjoy that album with any part of me. Saint Anger I would listen to over Lulu any day of any week, of any month, of any year, of any decade that I will ever be alive. I plan to never, ever, unless showing it to a friend and making horrible fun of it, I plan to never listen to Lulu again. But I have to look at that album cover and remember, Small Town Girl! It's so fucking bad. Pumping blood. Oh my god, it's so bad. It's so bad. Saint Anger, you gotta give it a little bit of credit. Just a little bit. Hear me out. I know a lot of people fucking despise Saint Anger, that hate it. They would never go back and re-listen to it. I would. Because it's not god-awful. It's not the Metallica that most of us enjoy. Most of the people that truly do enjoy Saint Anger as much as some people do, it's purely for a nostalgia factor. I know a couple people who were my age when Saint Anger came out, and that was their shit because it was brand new. They were a metalhead like me. They were 18 like me, and brand new metal albums are cool as fuck. And that may have been some of the first Metallica that they've ever heard. A lot of times the first album sits in a really high place for some folks, and I understand that. And that's where I think people would rank Saint Anger higher. Most people don't, and I don't, but it's worth one listen at least. All right, coming in at number 9, Reload. I don't consider this an unlistenable album. There are some parts of this album that I wonder why. There's only a few. But when it comes to Load and Reload, they had a list of, God, fucking how many songs? Like 30 songs, maybe? Almost 30 songs. And I think that they put most of their good work from that onto Load. There's a couple good songs in Reload, but what I'm thinking is if they put all the good songs from Load and all the good songs from Load and Reload onto one album, and came up with something like Load, Shoot, and Reload, fucking for an album, I don't know. I think it would have made such a kick-ass album. And some of it would have been on par with some of their earlier work. Some of it, not all of it. A lot of people hate, I can't speak. A lot of people hate Ain't My Bitch. I don't think it's a bad opener for Load, but we're talking about Reload. Fuel is a great song. Let's just throw that out there. The rest of them are a little lackadaisical. Oh, I love The Unforgiven too. Incredible fucking song. I love all the Unforgivens. Reload is just very... I have no other way to describe this than not Metallica-y enough for me. Yeah. That's really all I have to say about Reload. Now, this is where things get really fucking controversial, and some of you are going to hate my guts. I did not put Load at 8. At 8, I actually have Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Now, I know, there's some people yelling at me right now. Their newest album. A lot of people say it's better than Death Magnetic. A lot of people say it's their best work since fucking Black Album. I don't really like it too much. I'll listen to it. It's a good album, don't get me wrong. But it's not the first one I'd put on. Like, there's not really bad material here. It's just, like, not really up to par with a lot of their older work. And, you know, I feel bad. Oh, wait, actually, going back to Saint Anger real quick. The only reason I gave it a little bit of credit is because it was when the band was going through one of, like, their worst times, supposedly. So, obviously, the stuff that's going to be produced is going to be shitty to a lot of people's opinions. Jumping back to Hardwired at number 8. This was a great album for me as a younger kid. I remember when this album first came out, I didn't know that it was brand new because I didn't care about release dates. I didn't care about when albums were made, really. So I remember back like 2016, 2017, I had Now That We're Dead on repeat. My favorite Metallica song at the time. Looking back on that, I wonder why. And then I start to remember that I was a sheep and that I had just kind of started to get myself into the metal genre a little bit more. 6th grade, 7th grade was when I really started to pick up on the metal genre. I always listened to, like, nu metal and shit, like Disturbed growing up. And I listened to a little bit of Metallica's older work growing up as well. But Hardwired was my main place to go when I was, like, 13-ish, and I'm 18 now. I'm old as fuck. So, I think a lot of the work in this album is a little bit lackadaisy. Not that it's bad. It's just not as good as their other work. Like, how else am I supposed to phrase it? But yeah, I'd give the album another listen without a doubt. A lot of you guys are fucking screaming at me right now. How could you put Hardwired below Load? I know, okay? Listen, I love their older sound. I absolutely adore their older sound. Whether it be soft shit, like Mama Said. Like, I'm saying, like, some of their newer old sound, like Mama Said, like the soft shit from Load, or, like, the really old hard stuff, like fucking Ride the Lightning, the song, or One, like, all that. It's just fucking great. I love their old sound. I adore the shit out of it. So, there are, like, glimpses of their old sound in Hardwired to Self-Destruct. You get, like, a fake out. It's like, oh, damn, sweet. Like, fucking Battery is back. Or, you know, like, fucking Ride the Lightning is back. Like, you just get those little, oh shit, I hear a little bit of Injustice in there. Like, you get these fake outs and then it just, you know, normal riff. And then, I can't shit on James too much. This dude has been performing his fucking ass off since, when was the band created? Like 81? It was founded in 81, and their first studio album came out in, I want to say, 83, which was Kill 'Em All. His vocal performance wasn't my hugest, like, I'm not the hugest fan of it in Kill 'Em All, but this dude has been shredding and fucking shredding vocal cords for nearly 4 decades. How old is James now? James Hetfield, like fucking 60, maybe? Let me look this up, actually. This dude has been going ham, down strumming, and throwing those vocal cords to Saturn since 81. So I can't shit on him too much for his vocal performance in this album, but it's just not as good as the other shit. James Hetfield. How old are you? Okay, you're 6'1". That doesn't tell me how old you are. He's 59. Okay, so I was damn close. Yeah, no, I think just with older age, some of that grit is gone. I love the grit. The grit was great. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Hardwired. It's for a lot of... Okay, if you're trying to get into metal and you don't like metal too much, Hardwired's a good album for you. It's simple. It's not something that's gonna, like, fucking jizz all over your face with extreme experimental shit. It's just the normal fucking bare... It's not even really thrash. It's just metal. It's fucking metal. It's Metallica. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about that album. Coming in at number 7, I gotta go with Load. Hear me out here. Load is not a bad album. I enjoy this album from front to back. I find myself just completely fucking vibing and thinking about my life. Sitting there for an hour and however long this fucking album is, like what, an hour and 20 minutes? Something like that. I just sit there and I enjoy every second of it. Like, a lot of people say, Ain't My Bitch is cliche as shit. I actually kind of like it. King Nothing is a great song. Mama Said is an incredible song. There are a lot of other great songs on Load. And, you know, a lot of people shit on that album for what it is, you know, especially coming after something as great as the Black Album. But I still think it's a good album. And, let's talk about Load and Reload for a second. We already talked about earlier how if you took all the good songs from each album and put them onto one album, then it would have been a great fucking album. If you don't know what the album art for Load and Reload are, you're gonna hate me. I'm about to ruin this for you. Most people look at it and think they are both fire. They are not. Reload's album cover is an original art piece literally named Piss and Blood 26. Reload's album art, you look it up right now. You fucking look it up. I'm looking you dead in the eye. You look up that album art right now. And you take a good look. That is blood and piss. Yeah, all that shit you've been thinking was fire for years. Now let's talk about Load. You know, this is fucking funny as hell because you look at the name of the album, Load. If you look closely, Load is not fire. Load is a mix between blood and jizz, and it is stuck between two pieces of plexiglass and blown up for an album art. It is called, and I quote, Blood and Semen 3. That's the name of the original art. That is fucking disgusting. And with an album name like Load, it's kind of funny. It's metal as fuck, but it's gross as fuck. The material on Load obviously isn't up to par with the albums that came before Load, but it's still good. And I can sit there and listen to it and vibe to it the entire album. Headbang a little bit when it's necessary. A lot of this album is pretty calm and laid back. It's a nice little offset, but it's nice that this is kind of like the only album that's like this for Metallica. Let's jump into number 6. A lot of people are going to be surprised that I put this above Hardwired. Most people put this one below Hardwired, but for some reason I just truly enjoyed this album all the way through as well. I put Death Magnetic at number 6. Load and Death Magnetic switch all the fucking time for me, so you can put Load at 7th or 6th for me. Death Magnetic comes in at 6th or 7th as well. The one thing I like about this album is consistency. This album was kind of the boner-inducing album for Metallica fans that kind of lost their following for Metallica, I guess, if you want to call it, after the Black Album. A lot of people fucking hated Load, a lot of people hated Reload more, and a lot of people even fucking hated Saint Anger to the bottom of their heart and let all their hatred flow into that album, making the album name even funnier because most people are angry by the fact that it's so terrible. So when Death Magnetic came out, old school Metallica fans were creaming their pants to the sight of this new album and the music that it brought to their ears because it gave off that old school Metallica vibe. In this album, you can notice that James Hetfield's voice is a little bit, it's a hell of a lot better than fucking Saint Anger, but and it's also better than Hardwired. So it's kind of that middle ground. So they come back with an album such consistency, and you get another Unforgiven. Guys, we're still Unforgiven. I'm waiting for the Forgiven to come out with their 2023 album. It's been how long since the first one came out? 3 decades, and we still haven't been forgiven. What have we done? What did we do wrong? Just fucking with you guys. There's a lot of great songs on Death Magnetic. I can't go back and name them all right now. I just listened to the album for the first time literally yesterday. But it really is a good album. I never gave it a chance in the beginning. I didn't know a single song off of Death Magnetic until yesterday. But it's a good album. I enjoyed it. And I wasn't expecting that. Because even me at 18 years old, being Generation Z, I prefer old school Metallica. So Death Magnetic was kind of a blast from the past. And it's hard for me to believe that it had been 17 years since Black Album had come out until fucking Death Magnetic was created. That entire gap had a lot of Metallica fans really scared and shitting themselves that their favorite band was gone. A lot of people say that Death Magnetic is not as great as it seems. When it first came out, everybody shit themselves and they're like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. Metallica's back. They are who they were before. And then they realize that it's not exactly on par with their first 4 albums now, or their first 5 albums. And I'll agree with that. It's not on par with all of it, but it's up there. It is up there. It is number 6 for me, and that's pretty fucking good for me. But the fact that they followed up this great return of incredible music with Lulu absolutely stuns me and stops me dead in my tracks and just wonder what the fuck was going on inside their heads. And like I said, I tried to watch the interviews and I just couldn't understand Lulu. But Death Magnetic is a great album. If you haven't given it a chance, much like me before yesterday, do it, dude. You're going to get a little bit of a glimpse of old school Metallica there. And if you've heard Load, Reload, and Saint Anger, you're not going to be as disappointed as you think you are. Coming in at number 5, I have Kill 'Em All at number 5. This is their first studio album. This is their earliest work, well, other than like the EP. I don't know if it was an EP or a live show. Never really looked into it. No Life Till Leather. Don't know what that is. I know that came out in 82, from what I remember. Kill 'Em All came out in 83. Debut album. Not a bad album. I can enjoy this album all the way through. Anything from 7 up, like Load, Death Magnetic, Kill 'Em All, and everything I have above that, I can listen to the album all the way through without getting bored. The only thing I really don't like about Kill 'Em All is the vocals. Now, a little bit of that vocal style is nice. I know that obviously that's James Hetfield's early days, and he was only like 20 when this came out, but I just wasn't a huge fan of the vocals. And you can see that jump from Kill 'Em All to Ride the Lightning. But it's cool that in Ride the Lightning, you still get some Kill 'Em All-esque vocals, and it's fucking awesome. Kill 'Em All was a great debut for Metallica. I'd put it definitely on par, if not a little bit better, with Slayer's first album, which also came out in 83, which is awesome because these albums completely rivaled each other as both incredible thrash metal and both taking influences from so many other great bands of this era. Kill 'Em All is a great debut, especially for a band like Metallica. It's such a great foundation. The solos on this album, the meaning behind the songs on this album, it is incredibly consistent and incredibly consistently good. Like, Kill 'Em All, I'm just going to keep saying it, great debut. Yeah, no, if this had vocals like Ride the Lightning and everything that came after that, this album would be so much higher. But it really is a good album, and I enjoy it all the way through. Ooh, 4 and 3 are honestly really fucking tied for me. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do it. Oh, it's so hard. I can't do it. Fuck. I struggle with this. I really struggle with this. Give me a minute. I'm not gonna edit this video, so bear with me for a second. Which one's better? I can't. I'm going to go with number 4. I'm going to go with the self-titled Black Album. A lot of Metallica fans say, oh, this was the beginning of their downfall. This is the one where they went mainstream and made everyone happy. I like this album a lot. I don't necessarily agree with that statement. I think that there are so many Metallica elements in this album. Like the Metallica that we all know and love, most of us at least. I think that the self-titled album is a great album from front to back. There's not a song on this album that I really don't enjoy. This is the album that my father knows best. As I'm remembering, he had this cassette, I think, in high school, which would add up because he graduated in 94, I think. And yeah, no, the Black Album is a great album. Enter Sandman is incredibly overplayed. That does not make it a bad song. If I heard that song once a year, that'd be so nice. But I hear it, like, all the fucking time. I really do like this album. The God That Failed, fucking Nothing Else Matters. The original Unforgiven, Sad But True. Don't Tread on Me. So many good songs on this album. So many. And there's more to be named after that. Like, if I just named them, I'd end up reciting the whole album. So, that's kind of where I stand on the Black Album. And it kind of sucks that I had to put it in 4th. But I think the overall sound of number 3 is just a little bit better than the overall sound of the Black Album. I can't say that. They're equal. They're fucking equal. Number 3 and number 4 are tied, which makes number 3 Master of Puppets. I feel the same way about this album that I do about the Black Album. Master of Puppets has a lot of great songs. Fucking, obviously, you know, Battery, Master of Puppets itself. What's it called? The Thing That Should Not Be. Is that on this album? I think it is. The Thing That Should Not Be is fucking Lulu. Sorry, that album pisses me off. Master of Puppets, like I said, Master of Puppets, Battery, The Thing That Should Not Be. I'm pretty sure that's on this album. If it's not, you guys are going to fuck me in the comments. Welcome Home, Sanitarium, Orion. I could go on about this album for hours, but I'm trying to make this video under 45 minutes. This album came out in 86. It was their 3rd studio album, I think. Yes, their 3rd studio album. And it's very consistent. Incredibly consistent. And it's got that old school sound. When I hear that first note of Battery, it's just like, that's the Metallica that I know, and that's the Metallica that I will forever stay with, and the top 7 albums that I'll never let go. Number 2, A lot of people don't like this album for the shitty fucking mix that it has and the lack of bass in the mix. They really did the bass player dirty in this album. And Justice for All. And a lot of people say every song but one sounds the same. In a way. But the relaxed tracks on this album, the instrumental tracks, or at least the instrumental parts of the tracks, I'm not sure how many actual instrumental tracks are on this album, are so fucking heartfelt with their instrumentals. Yes, it is a lot of repeat, but there are a lot of great songs on this album. For example, just to name like three, One and Justice for All. And I really struggle with song names. What the fuck is it called? The one that Independence Limited, Freedom of Choice is made for you, my friend. That song, great song. That album is great all the way through. But what I really want to talk about at number one is Ride the Lightning. I love the fake out beginning of Fight Fire with Fire. That first 40-second intro of doom, doom, boom, 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 boom. It's just gorgeous. And then you slam into the repetitiveness that is Fight Fire with Fire. And it's a great song all the way through. So is Ride the Lightning. So is For Whom the Bell Tolls and Fade to Black and the rest of that entire album. I will never get bored with Ride the Lightning. I don't think it's possible. It's the perfect length, perfect, gorgeous album art, perfect songs, perfect solos, perfect vocals with those little glimpses of Kill 'Em All through there. It's a great album all the way through. And the fact that it's like 47 minutes as opposed to most of their other work that's like over a fucking hour, some people get bored with that. And if I want to sit there and relax to something I know I'm going to enjoy every second of, holy shit, I'm going to put on Ride the Lightning and I'm going to vibe like a motherfucker. Yeah, it's kind of where I stand on Metallica's albums. Now that we've got to number one, let me do an honorable mention here. This album doesn't get enough attention. And in my opinion, I think the first one was mixed better than the second one, which is weird, because you would think that they would have had more room to improve on the mix. But let's talk about S&M. S&M is probably one of my favorite live performances by Metallica that I've ever seen. I own the album. Seeing all their songs combined with an orchestra is really gorgeous. It's a live album, which is why I didn't put it in this ranking. The fuck was that? But I swear to God, I see orbs and shit in my room. But if you saw that on camera, why don't you just leave a comment? I think I'm possessed or some shit. Wouldn't be surprised. I've been spirit hunting for like 4 years, 4 or 5 years, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, S&M is a great album. It's really cool to hear that collaboration. You know, the mix of Metallica and an orchestra is just really, really interesting. Symphonic metal has always had a soft spot in my heart, and I'm not exactly sure why. But I wanted to put that in there as an honorable mention, like, with this ranking list, because it's just great. But, yeah, that's kind of where I stand on all of Metallica's albums. From worst to best, we got Lulu, Saint Anger, Reload, Hardwired, Load, Death Magnetic, Kill 'Em All, Black Album, Master of Puppets, and Justice for All, and Ride the Lightning. That's my opinion. If you disagree with me, great. Tell me in the comments how you feel about this ranked list, or like tell me what yours is. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see some varied opinions. If yours is similar to mine, also let me know. Give me your list regardless. I know I have a new subscriber. Shout out to you, man. You commented on a couple of my videos. So if you want to watch this one and comment on this one too, that'd be great. Love to hear what your list is if you're a Metallica fan. But yeah, that's how I feel about Metallica's albums. Hope you guys have a great fucking night. morning, day, evening, whatever it is. Go listen to some Metallica, enjoy yourself, relax, take a few deep breaths, and get some good-ass sleep tonight. Until next time, I am the leader of the metal cult, and you guys have been incredible. Enjoy your day. Rock on, peace out, fuck off, and do something you enjoy. Have a good one.